Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. Snowy Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. Boo. And today we were all about spring with the Flowering Rain Boots bundle by Stampin' Up! Yes, it is snowing here. It's been snowing all afternoon. The ground is covered again. I am not at all happy about it, but it's going to be nice and mild tomorrow and super mild on Thursday. So it's all going to go away and we'll get to see the grass again. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to share this bundle with you. It is the perfect springtime bundle. It's got spring flowers, it's got rubber boots, it's got watering cans, and even a little garden trowel. So lots of things to get us thinking about spring and the growing season. Perfect for the gardener or anyone in your life who is ready for spring. And I think that's just about all of us living in the Northern Hemisphere right now. So let me see who's here. Let me just bring up my video here on the iPad. There we go. Let's see who's joining me. Come on. There we go. Oh, I see Violet and Holly. Welcome, ladies. And Helen, thank you for joining me. All right, so we are going to make 3 cards today. I have one super quick and simple one that's a little bit more involved, and then a really easy peasy fun fold card. And then I'm going to give you a little sneaky peek of a class I have coming up with this bundle. And I've actually reopened registration for 24 hours only for this class. So I will give you a little sneak peek of the projects for that one as well. Okay, so lots to do today. Oh, we got lots more joining. Hi, Louise. Hi, Penny. Hi, Karen. Oh, I'm glad it's nice and warm and sunny in Iowa for you, Karen. It sure isn't here. Holly, white for you as well. Yep. Hi, Deb. Hi, Gail. Gail, are you getting the snow in Halton Hills too? We certainly are here. It's been snowing all afternoon. Not so nice. Hi, Krista. I know you're getting the snow in Breslau. Hi, Debbie. Thank you. It is March break for me. It's been so nice to be able to just be at home. I haven't gone anywhere. How sad is that? We went to church on Sunday, and that's the extent of my travels since March break started on Friday afternoon. I am a homebody. I am quite content with being at home. I've got my craft room. I've got lots of things to do, and who wants to go out in the snow anyway, right? Now tomorrow it's going to be nice, so tomorrow I may venture out and take a walk in the sunshine. But anyway, let's get to it. Louise, then. Just stop watching at the end of my demonstration, okay? Before I show the class projects, then you're safe, okay? All right, so let me flip my camera and we are going to do some stamping. Oh yeah, Gail, you had snow all day too. Yep, good times. It'll be gone tomorrow, don't worry. All right, let's do the switcheroo here. Make sure we're lined up. That looks pretty good. Let's get a little more light on the subject. There we go. All right. So here's our bundle. Has a great stamp set. Now these images they sort of have a watercolor effect. So they're not like just an outline image. They have this sort of watercolor look, which makes them super easy to use because you don't have to actually color them unless you want to. But they actually have the shading all built into the stamp, which makes them really, really quick and easy to use. We also have some lovely sentiments. Rain or shine, I'm here for you. I love that. Every storm that comes also ends. Love that too. Beautiful tulips, some daisies, just everything you need for the gardener in your life. So there's the stamp set, and of course we have the coordinating dies. Now most of the dies in this set cut out stamped images, but then we have this cute little garden trowel that we're going to use, and this piece of lattice. So we're going to use that one as well. I just wanted to showcase those so you could see the other dies in the set. Okay, now this retails I think around 60, I think it's $68.25 here in Canada, which is not too shabby as bundles go. All right. Oh, you got it today, Susan. Well, good timing. You'll get some ideas. All right. So the first one we're going to do is this one. Super simple card, but I love it. And I love the fact that this bundle works with so many beautiful DSPs from our catalog. So this one, I've used the Tulip Fields or Flowering Fields DSP because tulips, why not, right? So let's put this one together. I've already done the stamping and die cutting for the most part on this one, just to speed things up. Just, you guys don't need to watch me crank the die cutting machine. So we're starting with a piece of that beautiful Flowering Fields DSP. It is 4 by 5¼ inches. And then I have a piece here that is 2 by 4. Okay, so we're gonna glue the tulip pattern across the bottom edge of our polka dots. Oh, thanks, Karen. Yeah, I like this one. It's super simple, quick one to put together, but the cool thing is that you could put any sentiment on this card. You could make it a birthday card, you could make it a Mother's Day card, you could do anything. It's one of those, I love cards that are kind of generic that way. All right, so we've got our DSP glued on. We're going to add a little bit of this fun black gingham ribbon. Now, this was in the holiday catalog last fall and has carried over, so you can still get this stuff. You won't find it in the annual, but it is, if you look on the website, you will see that you can still get it, which is fantastic because I love it. So we're just gonna trim a little bit off here. I'm putting it right along the top edge of that tulip DSP. Now, if you wanted to, you could certainly color this ribbon. Like if I wanted red and black gingham, I could certainly color it with my Stampin' Blends and change the color, but I like the contrast of the black and white. So we're going to go ahead now and glue that onto our card base. This is Bumblebee cardstock. I'm all about the outgoing in colors. I'm gonna miss this batch of in colors terribly because I love all of them. So this is Bumblebee, nice warm sunny yellow. It's 4 by 5¼ inch. No, I lied. 4¼ by 11 inches. And it's scored in the middle at 5½. So we're gonna fold that in half along our score line. Yes, Sheila, I love this set too. I've had so much fun playing with it. And the nice thing about being home this week is that I've actually had time to enjoy playing with it. I haven't just, you know, had to crank out designs. I've actually been able to experiment and play around and try some different things. So it's been really fun. All right, so there's our background. And then we have our rain boots. These are stamped in Bumblebee ink on white cardstock and then die cut. Our stems are stamped in Pear Pizzazz. And then we have our tulips stamped in Poppy Parade, okay, which all coordinate with our DSP. So now I'm gonna show you a little tip. So we want our tulips to look like they're kind of inside the rain boots, okay? But do you see how when we die cut, we end up with a little bit of a white border along the bottom? Well, that doesn't really work for me. So I'm just gonna take my snips and cut along the bottom, just to cut off that white border. And that way, when I go to put it in my boots, it actually looks like it's in the boots, okay, without that white border there. So we're gonna apply just a teensy little bit. Yes, Debbie, I am on spring break. It is lovely, absolutely lovely being home. I'm gonna apply just a teeny bit of liquid glue right along the top edge of my boots. Like it's the teensiest bit. You don't need much. We'll add some dimensionals to this when we put it on, and that'll hold it all together when we put it on the card. But for now, that's just gonna tack our tulips in place, okay? Our stems. And then we have our tulip blossoms. Now, this, when I first tried to stamp this, I was like so far off. So you're paying attention to the longest stem and the tallest bloom here, and you kind of want to line those up. If you focus on those, the rest are easy to line up. But you just kind of want to pay attention to that tall stem and the tall bloom. So what we're gonna do is, again, just put teensy dots, and I mean teensy. So I'm just putting like the teeniest little dot of liquid glue on each stem. There we go. And then I'm gonna take, again, and line up that tall stem with my tallest bloom and stick that down. And there we have our lovely bouquet of tulips. Isn't that fun? So this is going to go on the front of our card with some dimensionals. So let's grab some of those. Oh, look, I had scrap on the back of that. Did not know that. That's why we love paper, right? It has two sides. So if you end up with something on one side you don't need, use the other. So just adding some mini dimensionals to my tulip blossoms, and I'm adding some large dimensionals to the boots and the stems. And we'll get rid of all our backings. My thumbnail is slowly growing back. It's taking forever. So we're going to pop this on right about there. Oh, yeah, there looks good. I like that. Okay. And then we are going to stamp our sentiment. So this label is cut using the Tasteful Labels dies. And I'm going to stamp my Live Life in Full Bloom sentiment. This would make a great birthday card, I think. In fact, I think that's what I made it. Yep, I did. I'll show you the inside in a minute. So I'm just going to stamp my sentiment in Memento Black. You could use whatever black you like. I just chose black because it coordinates with the ribbon. So we're going to go ahead and stamp that on our label. And then that is also going to go on with a couple of dimensionals. Not minis, full size. We'll add those. Thank you, Susan. I'm glad you like it. All right, so this one, we're gonna tuck in behind the boots a little bit. So we're actually not gonna see the pointed end on the one end. And it's gonna overlap our ribbon just a little. Okay, it goes on like that. And then we'll add a cute little bow. Love this ribbon because it makes the cutest, easiest bows. So we're gonna make our 2 bunny ears, left over right, around and through. And we'll adjust our loops. We just get a cute little gingham bow. What's not to love about gingham ribbon, right? So we'll trim off our tails, get that out of the way. Trim that one a little bit too. And then we're gonna grab a glue dot, press the knot of our bow into a glue dot. We're just gonna pop that on right in the bottom corner of that label, just like that. Isn't that cute? So simple, really quick and easy. So on the inside of this one, I added another white panel. I stamped some more tulips and added a happy birthday sentiment. Okay, so it makes a great birthday card. Again, you could do it for Mother's Day. You could use whatever stamp you would like on the front of this one. All right, so that is number 1, done and done. So we will make some space, clean up our mess a little here, and move on to number 2. So number 2, I'm kind of on a black gingham kick today, clearly. So here I use some black gingham DSP for my background to create sort of my little vignette here. Again, lots of fun stamped images and some twine, and there's that lattice die cut. So we've got a little bit of work to do on this one. This is a bit more involved. So we'll pull out all our bits here. All right, we are going to start. Here I have a piece of Poppy Parade cardstock. It is, what is it, 2 by 5 1/4 inches. And we're gonna do a little bit of stamping, and I think I forgot to mount that stamp. Yes, I did. Let's grab that stamp and a block and some ink. All right, I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking I had already done this stamping, but I forgot I had to do stamping on my backgrounds. Okay, so this is this sort of fun, that reminds me of daisies, this image. And I mentioned this is Poppy Parade ink, and I want to do tone-on-tone stamping. And when I do that, I like to use a shade darker of ink, okay? So this is Poppy Parade. I'm going to use real red ink to stamp my flowers. And it's just going to, oh, I just about put my block wrong side down into my ink. It's just going to give a little bit extra shading when I stamp. Now I'm just going to stamp along the edges of my strip here. I don't need to worry too much because I'm not going to see very much of it, right? I'm only going to see sort of the very end. So I'm just going to add a little bit of texture here. Okay, the rest is going to be covered. That's all I really need to do on this one. So we'll get that out of the way. Now this is going to get layered onto our DSP. So this is a piece of the Pattern Party DSP pack. It's one of the host exclusive items in the annual catalog. And I love this pack. It's one that I go to over and over again because it's just got so many fun patterns. The reverse side of every single sheet is black and white, which is awesome. And then we have different patterns that coordinate with various stamps and whatnot in the catalog. So it's a great Stamp Rewards item. If you place an order of $200 or more here in Canada, you can get the Pattern Party block of DSP, and it's got 48 sheets. It's a lot of paper. You can get that as with your Stamp Rewards, okay? And get it soon because the annual catalog is going away soon, and so will that DSP, sadly. All right, so this is some of that black gingham from that pack. It's 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and what I'm going to do is lay my stamped strip across the front of that, pretty much in the middle, and we're going to glue that down. So we're just going to grab some seal. We're going to pop this on, and actually I'm going to use my grid paper here because I do want to put this in the middle. So because this is 2 inches, I'm going to line it up at the 1 inch mark on the bottom edge and the 3 inch mark at the top, and that helps me to get it centered. Okay, Now we're going to add our piece of lattice. So this is that die cut from the die set. It cuts one strip of lattice at a time. And you can use multiples if you wanted to build a trellis, for example. But I, again, would recommend using adhesive sheets on this. Now you could put little dots of glue where they kind of crisscross, but I'm a big fan of the adhesive sheets, so I use them whenever possible. Now, the other thing that you're going to notice is this is a little bit on the short side, but that's okay. Actually, no, it's not. We're going to have to lengthen it a bit. So here's a little trick. We're going to stick this one down first, and then I'm going to take and snip it in the middle-ish. Doesn't really matter because we're not going to see that gap. And then this is going to go on. Where am I putting this? Right here. Okay, so you'll see it's a little bit too short to go the full length, and because I'm going to have so much of it covered, I want it to go right to the edges. So I just extended it by snipping that a little bit, and you won't see it once we put our focal image on. Okay, so that is going to go on to there. Before we do, we're going to add a little bit of twine. This is the Playful Pets twine. Again, love black and white. Use black and white ribbon, black and white pattern paper all the time because it's a great backdrop for our fabulous colors. So I'm just going to take and add a glue dot to the back of my panel here. Where is it? There. Okay, so we're putting it here. I can't talk and craft at the same time, you guys. It's not good. Oh, look, and I got one stuck to my finger. There we go. Okay, so we're going to grab one end of our twine. We're going to run it just along the bottom edge of our stamped panel there. And we'll trim off the roll. Okay, now we're going to add a whole bunch to this and then add a bow afterwards. Okay, but now that that's on, we can go ahead and layer this on our Poppy Parade panel. So this is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. So it's 1/8 of an inch larger on both sides than our DSP was. So we're going to add some seal or whatever adhesive. I like my tape. It's my fave. We're going to add that and just layer. You're going to have just a narrow little 1/16 of an inch border all the way around. Nice and subtle. Okay, and then that is ready to glue onto our card base. So we're going to use a basic black card base. I know it's hard to believe that such a cheery card could have a black card base, but the black just really makes all the colors pop. So this is 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we'll go ahead and fold that in half along our score line, and once again we'll add some tape to the back of our panel, and we're going to pop that on to the front of our card base. Just like that. All right, so now we're going to set that aside, and we're going to work on our focal image here. So I have here a basic white stitched rectangle. This is die cut using the stitched rectangle dies. Okay, I'm not actually going to do any stamping on this. I'm just going to use it sort of as my backdrop for my little vignette here. Then I have a mat of basic black cardstock. This is 2 3/4 by 4 1/8. Now I will put all these measurements in the video description for you so that you have them if you wanted to recreate any of these cards. So that is going to layer behind my white rectangle quite nicely. So this time I'm going to use just a little bit of liquid glue just so that I can wiggle that into position and get it exactly where I want it. So there we go. Now you could certainly, if you wanted a wider black border, you could die cut the next size up of rectangle, but I like having the narrow border on this one. All right, now I have a watering can. So this is stamped in no, it's not. It's stamped in Bumblebee ink on Saffron cardstock. Okay, so again, using that shade darker just gives a little bit more depth and texture to the stamped image. And you see how the shading is all built in. Now you could certainly stamp this on white cardstock for a more subtle look, but I like doing it on the colored cardstock because it just gives it that much more vibrance. Okay, so that one's gonna go there. And then we have a whole bunch of these same flowers that we stamped on our background. I've got some of these stamped and die cut, and we are going to arrange them on our watering can. So we're going to again put a little bit of glue just along the top edge. So we're going to add one bunch, and then I'm going to add a little bit of seal to the back of that, and we're going to arrange our other bunches. So this one's going to kind of come here, and then this one's going to kind of tuck behind. Need to add a little bit more seal here. And we'll tuck this guy in behind like that. So we have a nice big bouquet of flowers in our watering can. So that's going to sit just about there. And then, I did not cut my pots. That's okay. We'll do it. You'll get to see the dies in action. All right, so we need a little bit of cinnamon cider cardstock. So we'll just grab a bit of that. And we need some cinnamon cider ink. There we go. And we need our cute little terracotta pot. So we will grab that. We're going to pop that on. We'll set this aside for a minute because we're going to need the space to run our machine. So I'm going to stamp 2 pots just in cinnamon cider ink on my cinnamon cider cardstock. So I'm going to go 1 and 2. Okay, look at how great those look, stamped tone on tone. Such fantastic stamps. Now I'm going to trim this off because we don't need all this length. We just need this little bit. And I'm going to bring in my mini machine. So this is the machine that is actually on sale this month. If you don't have a die cutting machine, this is a great entry point. It's on sale this month for 20% off. And I can't say enough about it. It's an awesome, awesome machine. Look at this. I still got all kinds of crud on here from the last time I used it. Let's get rid of all those little bits. There we go. So we're going to take and lay our cardstock onto our platform here. And then I'm going to grab my die. And I'm going to grab a little bit of washi tape. The washi tape is simply to secure the die so it doesn't wiggle around. Now we have a magnetic platform coming for this very soon. Possibly as soon as the new annual catalog comes out. So I'm very excited about that. But I'm going to line my die up and I'm just going to put a bit of washi tape there to make sure it doesn't move around. And we're going to put that into the machine and run it through. Oh, Joyce, you're waiting for yours to arrive. That's exciting. It's such a handy little tool to have to keep on your desk. If you have the large machine and you don't have the small one, this would be a great time to pick up the small one. Honestly, you'll be glad you did. Because like now, I didn't have to pull out my big machine and make a big production of it. I just grabbed it off my desk and away we go, right? It's really, really quick. So we've got our 2 pots all cut out. And the great thing about this particular set of dies is that they all fit in this mini machine. They're all sized to fit this little guy. So it's a great one. Pick it up this month for 20% off and you'll be glad you did. All right, let's pull out our pots here. We'll set that aside. Now we are good to go. So we're going to add one little pot sort of on its side here behind our watering can. And then the other one's going to be peeking out on the other side. So it's going to kind of be arranged like that. Okay. And then the other thing we need to do is stamp our seed packet. So I'm just going to swap out my blocks here. So this cute little seed packet comes in the stamp set. And I'm going to stamp it in the black because I'm going to color it with my Stampin' Blends. So we'll go 1 and 2. Now there is a die for this one, but I'm just going to fussy cut it because really they're just rectangles. It's quick and easy. So I'm going to color my little flowers here. I want it to look like seed packets for the flowers that are in my watering can. So we're going to try to coordinate that. So this is Poppy Parade. It's the dark Poppy Parade blends. So we're going to color both of these flowers with the Poppy Parade. So there's one. And then we'll do this guy as well. There we go. Not being super careful, but you get the idea. And then I'm just going to color the centers with my dark Daffodil Delight. There we go. And then I'm just going to take my snips and cut these out. Now, as I said, there is a die for these. But for me, right now, way quicker and easier to fussy cut them. They're just straight lines. So if you are someone who does not like to fussy cut, then by all means, die cut your seed packets. But for me, it's just quicker to do it this way. So there we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4 sides. There we go. We'll get all this out of the way. And now we can start adhering things. So we have our little seed packets. They're going to kind of tuck in behind our our flower pots here. So the first thing we're going to do is adhere our one pot that's going to be on its side. So it's going to go this way. So we're going to add just a little bit of liquid glue and just kind of have that angled on its side like that. Okay, and then this guy's going to go over here. Our watering can's going to go here. So I'm just going to kind of place my watering can to get an idea of where I want my other bits and pieces here. So we'll go ahead and glue this seed packet on because it's the bottom of the heap. So we'll add this guy. Just like that. And then we got this guy. Liquid glue is a really quick and easy way to glue these little bits and pieces on. And then we'll add our second pot. The seed packets are kind of peeking out from behind the pot. This is going to go on with some dimensionals. So we'll add a few. Hi, Tracy. Thank you. You guys had spring break last week, didn't you? You were off when I was still in school. So this week I'm off while you guys are in school. I think. You guys only get a week for spring break, right? I think so. I'm not sure how it works in the US, but here it's just a week. So we're going to add that there. Isn't that cute? Now the best part of this card is this cute little garden trowel. I don't even know if you noticed it. See this little guy hanging out here? So this is this cute die. So I cut it twice, once out of black cardstock and once out of silver foil. Okay. And yeah, I bet it's tough going back. And with the time change, Tracy, ugh, I don't envy you at all. So we are going to actually snip off the end of, so the handle end of our silver one, because I actually have adhesive sheets on my silver one. So I'm going to peel off my backing on my adhesive sheets. Oh, it's next week in Florida. Wow, that's later. I guess the weather will be nice down there. There's lots of Canadians down there right now, I'll tell you. Everybody I know is on a beach in Florida. Except you guys who are watching with me. So thank you for not going to Florida. So there's my cute little garden trowel. Isn't that sweet? Oh, I just love that. So we're going to I'm going to trim a little bit off the handle and we're going to tuck it in behind our watering can. It's just going to kind of hang out from behind the watering can. So I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue here just to stick it down. Doesn't need much. It weighs absolutely nothing. So we'll just have that kind of hanging out there. Isn't that sweet? I love it. And then our sentiment, I've already stamped and heat embossed this. So this is black cardstock, heat embossed in white. Okay. And then I'm just going to fussy cut this out. Again, a lot of people get really uptight about fussy cutting sentiments, but like it really does not have to be a big deal. It's just like fussy cutting anything else. You just kind of follow the shape. And honestly, I think part of the reason people dislike fussy cutting is because it's called fussy cutting. I think if it was called something else, people wouldn't mind it so much. That's my theory anyway. I would mind it far less. Well, I don't mind it at all, actually. I like fussy cutting. But I think people would mind it far less if it was called detailed cutting instead of fussy cutting. We hear the word fussy and we instantly has a negative connotation. We think about, you know, fussy babies crying. The torture of being a mom with a fussy baby. So we're just going to kind of come around here, trim this off. Nothing super special or fancy. Oh my goodness, I can smell my meatloaf. I put dinner in the oven before I started my live and it is smelling really good right now. All right, so we're going to add that to our focal image here. I'm going to add a dimensional on one end and a bit of tape on the other where it's going to overlap my watering can. Thanks, Claire. Thanks, Judy. I love this card. I love the red, the yellow and black and red together. I just think it's a really fun color combo. All right, so all we have left to do is to add this to our card base. We're going to add dimensionals to the back of that, and I'm actually going to use the edges of my dimensionals. I like to do that when I have a large piece that I want to adhere. It's a great way to use up those edges. Waste not, want not, right? And just get those large pieces stuck down really easily. So we're going to add this guy here, and I'll put a little bit, no, I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals in the middle. And we'll get rid of our backings. I'm actually going to put a strip along the bottom too. Don't worry. I'm not going to leave the bottom hanging. Just got a little ahead of myself. Yeah, I'm sorry, Louise. The shoveling is lots of fun. Oh, good, Debbie. I told you having a good pair of scissors is absolutely crucial to fussy cutting. You are not the first person that I have had say that once they got a good pair of scissors, it made all the difference for them and they don't mind it so much now. There we go. We're going to add a little bow with a bit more of our twine. So we'll just tie a quick little bow here. And we'll trim off our tails. I hope my husband has the good sense to take the meatloaf out of the oven. Usually I put it in like just before I start my live and it's ready like when he gets home from work. So I just heard him come home. So I'm hoping that he knows enough to take it out. Otherwise we'll have dry meatloaf. And there you go. Isn't that fun? Now I'll just quick show you on the inside. I added, so Rain or Shine, I'm here for you. And then I added that Every Storm That Comes Also Ends sentiment. I love that. This would be an awesome card to send to just about anybody right now because we're all kind of going through storms with everything that's going on in the world. And then I just stamped some more of my little daisies there along the bottom. Okay, so that is that one. Holy cow, I got a big mess here. Lots of bits and pieces. Okay, last card is this super simple fun fold. This is one I've done variations on several times before. But I wanted to feature this awesome stamp set and bright spring colors. I was all about the bright. So no black on this one except for the sentiments, okay? So we're moving away from black. I'm not in mourning. We're going to do a little bit of spring here. So this one, so let me quick show you. This one opens like this. Okay, so it just has a solid panel on the back. So it opens like this. There's room to sign. If you wanted more room to write, you could omit the stamped tulips there, but just a really simple card. Stands up like this. Okay, just a fun variation on a tent fold card. All right, so to start, I have a piece of, this is the In Color, not the In Color, the Color Family Pack DSP, okay, the 6x6. This is Granny Apple Green. It is cut to 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, okay? And I am going to glue that onto a piece of polished pink cardstock that is 4 by 5 1/4, okay? So when I do that, you're gonna see I have just a narrow 1/16 of an inch border all the way around. So we'll just add a little bit of glue here. My voice is getting croaky. I'm supposed to be on vocal rest this week because my voice is still not good and I have really taxed it over the last few weeks at school. So I'm supposed to be not talking, but I had my team meeting last night and I'm here live with you guys today. So I'm not doing so well on the not talking part. All right, so there is my backdrop. Now to make my little sort of flap here, I have a piece of cardstock. You can use any color. I just wanted to use the same color as I used for my card base, but you could use the same color as this. It's totally up to you. This is 5 3/4 by 2, 5 3/4 by 2 1/8. Sorry, 5 3/4 by 2 1/8, and it is scored at the 1/2 inch mark here. Okay, I'm not sure how well that shows in the camera, but there's a score line at 1/2 inch. So what I'm going to do is lay my flap, my cardstock across the front of my card. I want to pay attention to making sure it's straight. And I chose a lattice pattern, which makes it easy to make sure it's straight. I was a little sneaky that way. So we're going to, actually I'm going to move it over just a touch so it's not perfectly centered. So we're going to lay that over and we want that bottom edge here to be flush with the bottom edge of the polished pink cardstock. And when you do that, you'll see that that score line lines up with the top edge so you can fold that little flap over the top edge. Okay, so I'm just going to burnish that well with my bone folder. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to add some strong adhesive. So I'm going to use Seal here. You could use liquid glue, but you'd have to give it some time to set up. Okay, now before I stick that down, I feel like it moved and it did. So we're just going to make sure that that is still where I want it to be. And then we're going to fold that flap over to secure it. Okay, and again, I'm just going to burnish that really well to make sure it's well secured. Okay, now I have another piece of In Color. This is In Color. This is the Color Family In Color Family cardstock, or not cardstock, DSP. Holy cow, words are hard today. This is Bumblebee, and it is cut to 2 by 5 1/8. And you're going to see when I layer that on my flap here that the top and bottom edges line up with the top and bottom edges of the DSP behind it. Okay, so that's just kind of I don't know, it's a pet peeve of mine when you cut layers of DSP and they don't align. It's just sort of, it's a thing I don't like. So I just like to make sure that my edges align so it's nice and neat and tidy and everything just looks like it's nice and straight. Okay. There we go. That's straight. So that is my flap. Easy, right? Now that that's on, I can go ahead and glue it onto my backdrop. So this is my card base. It is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So it is a 1/4 sheet of cardstock. And you're going to see when I go to glue that down that I'm going to have an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. Okay. So I'll use a bit of seal on this one because this has got a lot of weight to it. So I just want to make sure I have a good strong adhesive. And we're going to go ahead and layer that centered on our panel, just like that. Okay, so that is the foundation of our card. All right, next up, we have a piece of basic white cardstock cut to 3 by 3 inches. Make sure I got the right one here. Yes, this is 3 by 3. Excuse me, need water. All right, so that is going to be for the inside of our card. So we are going to stamp our Rain or Shine sentiment in black. So I'm just going to grab my Rain or Shine stamp and I'm going to stamp it a little bit towards the top here. Hopefully straightish. Okay, now I think I'm going to omit the tulips. No, you know what? I will, because I want to show you how to line the tulips up. I was going to say I was going to omit the tulips just to allow more room to write, but that's okay. You can always write on the back of this one too, right? If you need more space. Okay, so I have Granny Apple Green ink, and I'm going to stamp my stems, and I want to stamp them sort of so they're going off the bottom edge. Okay, I'm not going to get the whole image here, just like that. Sorry, my voice is doing weird things. It keeps cutting out on me. All right, so then I'm going to bring in my Tulip Blossoms and Bumblebee ink. And do you remember when we were lining up the die cut, how we looked for the tallest stem and the tallest bloom? We're going to do the same thing when we're stamping. The other thing that we want to do is actually make sure that we're overlapping the stems ever so slightly. Now, this is really hard to do because I can't look straight down. I'm going to trust that that is overlapping. There we go. Yeah, we don't want floating flowers, right? We want to make sure it looks like the blooms are attached to the stems. So you just kind of overlap it ever so slightly and it will stamp perfectly. All right. Okay. So now this one is going to get glued to the inside, to the background panel, not to the flap, but to the inside. And we're going to center it. So this is really important, this step. You want to take your time and make sure it is straight and centered, because when we put our layer on the front, it has to line up perfectly with this. And if this is crooked, then your front piece is going to be crooked too. Now again, the lattice certainly helps with the straight factor. So we'll just make sure that that's on fairly straight. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and add our piece on the front. Now let me just open this up or close this up again so you can see what I did. So this is another piece of 3 by 3 cardstock. This is polished pink. And my white layer is 2 7/8 square. Okay. And you're going to see that when they layer, we get just a cute little border there. Now, before I add my boots and whatnot, I'm going to stamp my sentiment. Sorry, my voice is not cooperating today. Now, this sentiment is long, and I want it to be narrow. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Right marker, and I'm going to make sure I'm inking the right part. I'm going to start by inking every storm. Now, this is especially easy to do with photopolymer stamps because you can see exactly where you're stamping them. So I'm going to put every storm here, and I'm going to clean that really well. And then I'm going to ink That Comes. Now I'm using the side of the brush tip of my marker. And again, we're going to try and get that straight and centered. Hard to do when you can't look straight down. It's pretty close. And again, clean that really well. The really important part of this is cleaning your stamp because you don't want sort of the ghost of the previous image to show up when you stamp. And then we're going to add also ends and center that and hopefully get it straight. There we go. Oh, look, wet. That's okay. That'll get hidden. Woo! I have a very juicy chamois here. All right, so there is that. we're okay. And then we're gonna go ahead and add a little bit of ribbon. So we're gonna use some of this Bumblebee Gingham. I'm gonna be so sad when this goes. I love this ribbon. It's such a cute gingham pattern. So we're just gonna run this just sort of underneath where our sentiment is stamped. Trim off our excess there. And add another glue dot. Now I do want to point out on my sample, I actually had the ribbon going around the whole thing and I didn't like that. So I'm changing this so it's a little bit cleaner on the inside. Hope you guys are okay with that. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and layer our white piece onto our polished pink mat. So we'll add a little bit of glue here. And we're going to center that in there, just like that. Sorry, that was low. I just realized I'm really low in the view here. Okay, and then we are going to, before we add anything else, we're going to center this over top of our white piece. So this is the most important step here. We want to make sure when we go to glue this on that we are perfectly lining this top layer up with the white, because we don't want to see the white peeking out, right? So the easiest way to apply your adhesive is to close your flap and to just start your adhesive where the white behind piece starts. So we're just going to add our glue here. Stop when you get to the bottom of the white. And then we're going to take and line this up and make sure we're covering that entire white piece. We don't want to see anything peeking out. That looks pretty good. Okay, do you see why it's so important to have this one straight? Otherwise this ends up crooked. Okay, so now we are going to add our tulips to our rain boots. So this time I did it a little bit differently. I actually had it look like the tulips are kind of growing behind the rain boots, and that's totally fine, just a little bit different look. So I'm gonna add a little bit of adhesive to the back side of my rain boots this time. And we're gonna just stick that down, just like that, okay? And then we're gonna, again, add some little dabs of glue to the ends of our stems. You do not need a lot of glue here. A couple of little dots will do. And once again, lining up that tall stem with my tallest tulip, we're just going to add those to the ends of our stems. And there we go. We have our little rain boots. Okay, now that's going to go on with some dimensionals once again. I'm almost out of dimensionals. It's a good thing my video's almost over. You guys have done well to hang in with me. It went a little bit longer than I expected because I had forgot. I wasn't intending to die cut those pots, but that's okay. You got to see the mini machine in action. There we go. So we will add our rain boots here. And we are just about done. Get rid of these backings. So we're going to pop this on, and I'm just going to slide this over enough that I cover my little wet spot there, because that was a little oopsie that I did not intend. Okay, and there. Oh, you know what? I have a dimensional that I do not want there. We're going to get rid of that guy. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to add a little bow. So a cute little yellow gingham bow this time. You know me and my bows. I need my bows. Thanks for sharing, Jill. I really appreciate it. I love this color combo too, Deb. It's so cheerful and springy. I cannot wait till the grass is this color of green. It'll happen. Usually happens early May around here. So I'm going to add a glue dot to my bow here, and I'm just going to add it right sort of at the edge of my flap there. And then we're going to add a couple of butterflies because, well, that's what spring's all about, right? Bees and butterflies. So these are our brushed brass butterflies. So we're going to add a large one kind of here, and then a couple, oh, that little guy is flying away. So we'll grab him so he doesn't get lost. And we'll add one more up here. And there we go. Done and done. Let's clean up the mess here. I'll bring back all three projects. So there's 1 and 2 and 3. There we go. Hope you guys like those today. Now, before I let you go, I promised a little sneak peek of my class using this bundle. So this is coming up on April 8th, I believe. And registration had already closed, but because I knew I was doing this video today, I thought I would open it up just for 24 hours in case anybody decides at the last minute they want to join. So these are the projects from today's video. I'm going to get them out of the way. I'll show you real quick the 5 for this class. So the class includes the stamp set, does not include the dies. If you would like to add on the dies, you let me know and I will happily take care of that. So we have 1. Now this one I colored. There's a little bit of coloring on this one. And then we have 2, love the navy and yellow on that one. And then we have 3. And then we have a couple of fun folds. This is a variation on the one I just showed you. So it opens this way. And then we have an easel card that is a slimline. So it lays flat like this and then folds up, whoopsie, like that. So you have this fun little garden scene on your desk. All right. Okay, so that class, you can access that from my blog. If you go to upcoming events, the link to register is there. I will also post the link here on my Facebook page later on this evening after dinner. Okay, registration's only opening again for 24 hours. So make sure you register today or first thing tomorrow or it'll be gone. Okay. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Enjoy the sunshine if it's sunny where you are. I know it's going to be beautiful here on Thursday, so I'm looking forward to getting outdoors. Thanks, everyone, for joining me. Have a great week. Bye for now.